Hello YouTube, back again with another video. It's been a long time coming due to the fact that I just got through moving and semi-unpacking my home, but it's not seeming to go as well as I would like to in my office, so I'm just going to hide you guys from the rest of this office and leave it at that. Those of you that are new here, my name is BB Austin. I usually do spiritually related videos. If that's something that you're interested in, please hit the subscribe button down below as well as the like button if you like this video. So I am about to talk about an experience that I recently had, and I'm working on a couple of things having to do with this. But we're going to be talking about parallel universes, and I guess the Mandela effect would probably have a little bit of something to do with this, so I'm actually going to just start with that. So the whole reason I'm making this video is because during meditation I decided to try something different, and I visited 3 parallel universes of myself, one of which that does not exist in this particular timeline, and 2 of which will happen within the next 4 years or so of my life. So before I get into that, let me try to explain this a little bit for those of you that are not familiar with this and the parallel universe theory and whatnot, but I'm not going to get deep down into it. I'm just going to explain it the way that I understand it and the way that I've been explaining it so people can understand it. So the parallel universe is the case that you have alternate versions of yourself that exist in other realities. I always like to refer to them as alternate timelines. So there's a version of you that died, there's a version of you that made poor decisions and might be in a lot of trouble, there's an alternate version of you that went to college, there's a version of you that you didn't. So all of these different things actually coexist, and any of those realities could be your reality possibly, but because of decisions you've made in this reality, this is why you've become of it. This is partially, if anyone's familiar with the Mandela effect, the Mandela effect has a lot to do with this, where some people say that there are certain things in their timelines in the past that does not match up with this. One in particular that people always argue about is the theory that Shazam was actually played by Sinbad instead of by Shaq, which in this reality it was played by Shaquille O'Neal. But there's quite a few that actually exist. I guess I'll leave you guys that link too, because that website is bizarre. But the whole reason that I got into this was about 2 or 3 years ago. What ended up happening was I was talking to my sister about Pulaski Day, and we didn't remember it happening on like a Monday or something like that. So, you know me, I went to go research it, and whenever I go to research things like that, I usually end up down a rabbit hole that ends up getting me into some more juicy information. So I ran into this other guy, which I'm not too sure of his name anymore, but he was at least in his 60s or 70s, and he would sit down in meditation, and he would go speak to an alternate reality version of himself that was a professional at something that he did not currently do in this life. And when he would go to this version, he would ask them for advice to bring it into this reality to make it happen. He went to visit one that was a photographer, one that was an artist, one that was a musician, and one that was an author. And he ended up putting that advice into works in this reality, and he mastered each skill and became each one of those things that the alternate reality version of himself already were in those lives. Now, okay, because I'm trying to take a breather because this just gets confusing. So if you're still with me, the way that this works, the way that I view it, is I view it as multiple timelines. And if any of you have ever went to a prophet or a psychic or evangelist or anything of that nature that are people that see into the future, when you ask a question and you give a scenario like, will I like this job if I take this job at, I don't know, Office Max, I don't know. And they tell you, well, I see if you go to Office Max, you're not going to like it, but if you hold out, you're going to go to another job that you're really going to like, so I think you should wait on it. So I believe the whole reason that they're able to do that is because there's a timeline that exists that you take that job at Office Max, and there's also a timeline that exists that you do not take that job at Office Max. They're able to access each one of those timelines to tell you the outcome of each one. Now, given that those both exist, there's also ones in existence of one that you died and made poor decisions and all the way down the line. So because of this, that is why you're able to visit that version of yourself, because collectively they're like one consciousness and they're still you. They're just a version of you that you didn't turn into. Now, I didn't get into it when I first read about it due to the fact that the guy was actually trying to charge like an arm and a leg for the DVD series or something like that in order to do it. So I just kind of messed around on YouTube, found more info on it, people that had actually done it, but they didn't really tell how exactly they did it. So in my case, what I did was I sat down in meditation and I focused on a number of the age that I wanted to go to. So I focused on the number 32. I'm currently 28. So focused on the number 32, and when I focused on it, I just kept my mind on that number, and then I saw like a loophole that kind of traveled down and started moving like this. And then I ended up coming to this house. It was a big white house, big huge back porch with a blue pickup truck in the driveway. And I had to make sure I stayed focused to stay in that, I guess, reality. And I walked up and I saw myself sitting in the grass, meditating while smoking a joint. And my hair was longer, my locks were like on top of my head, and it was like kind of in a bun. And then I heard God tell me like, yeah, well, this is you, and to go talk to her. So when I attempted to talk to her, I had told her, yeah, well, is this you? Like, cause I was like terrified of the whole situation. And she said, yeah. But what ended up happening that time when I actually went in that reality was the kids kept interrupting me, and then I would come back. And then I had told her, well, sorry about the interruptions, and she was like, I would know. And then after that, I was like, you know what, I'll just come back later. So I stopped meditating, and then I tried it again about 4 hours later. And when I tried it again, I focused on the number 32. But I think I probably didn't focus hard enough, and my mind was kind of all over the place, and I made a mistake and visited 82-year-old me. And 82-year-old me was really creepy, let me tell you. She wore like a whole bunch of white, and it was something about a beach over there, which I'm like really confused about. And I didn't recognize her, of course, because I don't know what the hell I'm going to look like when I'm 82. So I walked up to her, and I didn't say anything, but I kept kind of backing off and then coming back and then backing off. And she had told me, well, no matter how many times you look back here, I'm still going to be here. But she was not in a meditation position, not in any type of position at all. She was just standing there and looked like she was wide awake. So I just left because she creeped me out. So then the third time that I went back, I went and I spoke to my more confident version of myself. And I did this one right before I went to bed, surprisingly. And I focused on just more confident self. And that version of myself was one that did not exist in this reality. And she was like some sort of a rock singer. And she had on like a black t-shirt with like ripped off arms. And she was on stage singing. And then when I went to go talk to her, she stepped off the stage, came backstage. And she told me, hurry up because I got to go back on in 5 minutes. And I was talking to her, well, how can I be more confident? And she told me, well, realize that you are damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And it doesn't really matter. You might as well just do what you want to do and be happy doing it if they're going to hate you either way for it. And then she was like, anything else? Like, she was just really in a rush. And then I had told her, well, how did you get to that point? And she was like, oh, well, weed will make you realize things, which I thought was kind of weird that she told me, but hey, that's a different version of myself. And then after that, I left. So, believe me, I know this sounds crazy. This is crazy as hell at this point. But I want to help you guys to have some experiences like that. So right now I've been working during meditation to actually come up with a formula, if you will, to help you to be able to access those versions of yourselves, because this could actually be something beneficial to your practice to actually talk to a version of yourself. Mind you, remember, I do know that there were certain things that I can't, sometimes you can come back from it and you be a little fuzzy. So I know there was something that I asked one version of myself at the 32-year-old age, because I went back again, and there was certain things I asked about myself, and she said I can't answer that. So there are certain things that will not be revealed to you depending on the criteria. So please don't take this information trying to go to these people yourselves, I guess, and ask them questions about the future, because you're not really going to get certain questions out of them given the fact that you're not supposed to know. So I will be posting another video soon on that, and I will talk to you guys later.